I say just about every week on this show, it is an election year in the US of A, and yet again, for the umpteenth time, Democratic President Joe Biden has proved that he is one 25th Amendment away from a nursing home. Here he is at a recent speech, imagining that one of the Israelis taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th, Hersh Goldberg Poland, was at the speech with him, when in fact he's still being held hostage.
My administration is working around the clock to free the remaining hostages, just as we have freed hostages already. And here with us today is Hersh Goldberg Poland, and still, he is not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas.
Ugh. That's almost as bad a faux pas as when Biden thought Republican Congresswoman Jackie Walorski was in attendance at a conference on hunger in September 2022, when in fact she had died in a car accident just 1 month earlier.
And I want to thank all of you here for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here to help make this a reality.
Not good. Not good at all. But I'm not here today to discuss Joe Biden. He is a victim of elder abuse and clearly not in his right mind. And so it's not surprising he rambles off on random tangents and thinks people are in the room with him when they aren't. Instead, I'm here to discuss 3 other US politicians who are all in their right minds, presumably, and have a lot more control over what comes out of their mouths than a certain cognitively impaired current POTUS. Yet these particular Congresswomen were recently involved in an incident where none of them thought to exercise any self-control, giving ammunition to internet trolls who insist that women are too emotional to be in politics. I am talking, of course, about a certain now infamous House Oversight Committee markup that started out well, but devolved into this.
Okay, calm down. Calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Ms. Crockett, you're not recognized. Ms. Crockett.
I can't hear you with your yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can you please calm down?
Don't tell me.
So, how did this all begin? Well, it started last week when a House Oversight Committee markup discussed potentially holding Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt for refusing to release audio recordings of Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur. Remember, Hur was the official who released a rather pointed report earlier this year describing Biden as, to quote him, a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Anyway, during the hearing, Republican Congresswoman from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, aka MTG, asked Democrats whether any of them were employing Lauren Mershon.
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Mershon's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman, that's right. He's advising.
Now, Lauren Mershon is the daughter of Judge Juan Mershon, who is currently overseeing Donald Trump's hush money trial. She is the head of a digital advertising agency that works with Democratic candidates, and as such, she's understandably become a bit of a person of interest to Trump allies, hence the fact MTG brought her up. However, this seemed to confuse Democratic representative from Texas, Jasmine Crockett, who is the voice you heard saying, well, what does that have to do with Merrick Garland? Crockett then facetiously asked MTG, do you know why we're here?
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
Now, this condescension from Crockett obviously displeased MTG, who came back with this.
You know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about, I guess
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you please regain
order.
order of your committee?
Okay, so as those of you who are familiar with my work will know, I love a bit of theatricality in politics. One of my favourite political episodes ever was when One Nation leader, Senator Pauline Hanson, wore a burqa into the Australian Federal Senate in 2017 to demonstrate that allowing them was a security risk.
Senator Hanson.
I'm quite happy to remove this because this is not what should belong in this parliament.
Followed closely by the incident in which the then federal treasurer, the Liberal Party's Scott Morrison, brought a lump of coal into the House of Representatives, again in 2017, to stick it to the climate lovies.
This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
The Treasurer knows the rule on crops.
It's coal. It was dug up by men and women who work and live in the electorates of those who sit opposite. From the Hunter Valley, as the member for Hunter would know. It's coal that has ensured for over 100 years
The Deputy
that
Prime
Australia
Minister
has enjoyed an energy competitive advantage that has delivered prosperity to Australian businesses and has ensured that Australian industry has been able to remain competitive on a global market.
What a shame Scott Morrison caved to net zero dogma 4 years later when he was Prime Minister. Coal was surely all he got for Christmas from Santa that year. But in the case of Marjorie Taylor Greene, making a crack about Jasmine Crockett's fake eyelashes, look, regardless of the provocation, didn't make some sort of witty point. It only made MTG look bad, not Crockett. So what happened next? Well, of course, Democratic Congresswoman from the Bronx, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, weighed in.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl? I don't think
we are going to
so.
move, and we're going to take your words down.
Now, while I do understand AOC calling a point of order on MTG's eyelash insult, oh, girl, baby girl, do not even play. Really? Is this high school? So cringe. It's also worth noting this is absolutely a case of progressives being able to dish it out but not take it. AOC herself has said much worse things about her political opponents than taking a dig at their appearance. Like the time when, 3 weeks after the riot at the Capitol building on January 6, 2021, she accused Republican Senator Ted Cruz of trying to have her murdered. This is her tweet. She said, "I am happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to get me killed. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign." Oh, baby girl. But alas, the cat fight, and it was a cat fight, did not stop there.
Ms. Greene agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to
recognizes
apologize. No. She needs to
Okay,
apologize.
hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're
reserve
not
the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
Mr.
not
Chair,
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
think
minority...
it's pretty
No,
self-evident.
you're not.
Yeah, you're
out
not.
of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike
I'd like to strike
move to
those
strike the
words
lady's
as well.
words.
I would like to strike
Strike the lady's
as well.
words again.
That's 2 requests to strike. That's 2 requests to strike.
Oh, they cannot take the words.
There's another...
More mudslinging. So, what of Jasmine Crockett in all of this? The subject of the eyelashes jab. Did she recognize this whole episode was a waste of time and taxpayers' money, allow the proceedings to continue uninterrupted, and make a pointed statement publicly about MTG's words after the fact? Well, no. When it looked to all be done and dusted, Jasmine Crockett escalated the argument.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a
Hold on.
part of
I'm trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to
I had
strike
no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
Okay, so as the left likes to say, let's unpack this. The insult hurled by Crockett, bleached, blonde, bad-built butch body, given the context, was clearly aimed at MTG. And the justification Crockett gave for saying it was to make a point about the House rule that states members are not allowed to play personalities, that is, hurl personal insults at each other. Prior to Crockett's comments, there had been a failed vote to strike MTG's words from the record, so Crockett said she was seeking clarification as to what constitutes playing personalities by saying MTG has a bleached blonde, bad-built butch body. Anyway, this attempt at alliteration is probably why Crockett sat there silently and let AOC do the talking for a few minutes. You know, she needed the downtime to come up with, like, oh, just the perfect insult. Too bad it's grammatically incorrect, but still, it's the thought that counts, right? And it's an odd choice of words for a lefty. I mean, using the word butch as an insult when referring to a woman's body is surely some shade of transphobia or homophobia when looked at through a woke lens, considering the woke emphasis on androgyny and gender fluidity and, of course, body positivity. But again, as we've all said a million times, all pretense at adhering to their own lofty principles goes out the window when leftists are speaking to or about conservative women. And that's, look, not to say that MTG didn't ask for the clapback. She knew what she was doing when she mentioned Crockett's false eyelashes. As did Crockett. She's now been doing the interview rounds, insisting that MTG's quip about her eyelashes was, wait for it, racist.
So you also called Green racist for what she said about you. Why is that?
Yeah. Because as I've received so many amazing compliments from MAGA America throughout my time in Congress, a lot of times when I would go viral, instead of them trying to address the things that I laid out in a very factual way, what they would try to do is say, oh, look at her hair, or look at her nails, or look at her lashes. And they would all then associate anything that I do as a form of beautification with being quote unquote ghetto. And so to me, she was just basically repeating the nonsense that MAGA world is constantly putting out there, because I am not the only woman in Congress that wears lashes.
Okay, so two things are clear from this. One, the left has diluted what it is to be racist to such a nonsensical point that even eyelashes can be racist. Two, Jasmine Crockett spends way too much time reading comments on social media. And while of course she is right that it's wrong to criticize someone's appearance instead of their ideas, here is one of her clips that went viral.
In fact, Ms. Perry, I know your organization, the Heritage Foundation, loves Texas. Ooh, they love Texas. They always sending us some nonsense bills that somehow set this country on the wrong trajectory. They send them to Texas. They send them to Florida. Every deplorable state that we can think about, they usually coming out of y'all's think tank.
What argument is Crockett laying out in a very factful way, as she put it on CNN? It's also highly ironic that she's calling Texas a deplorable state when she herself does, in fact, represent a district in Texas. Now, look, here's the thing. As I said, I love a bit of theatricality in politics when it advances the argument and makes a policy point. And yes, I am a Donald Trump supporter, and goodness knows he lays into his opponents, sometimes in a very personal way. However, Trump generally lays into politicians who are telling outright lies about him to trick the American public into voting Democrat, or journalists who are asking him deliberately obtuse, ideologically loaded questions under the guise of being impartial, and generally all of this takes place during press conferences or online. It doesn't disrupt the proceedings in Congress, unlike MTG, AOC, and Jasmine Crockett's little tiff. I mean, that's unacceptable, as they are on the taxpayer's dime. Not only that, and I really hate to say this, this whole episode does not do the reputation of women in politics any favors. Where do you see men in Western countries behaving that way in their various political houses? What do you think would happen if a man said to a male college, "Boy, baby boy, don't even play"? I mean, he would be laughed out of office. But thanks to the bigotry of low expectations when it comes to women in power, these three ladies will get away with it. So I have one message for Marjorie Taylor Greene, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Jasmine Crockett. Ladies, please, for the sake of women everywhere, grow up. After the break, we'll speak to former LNP federal MP George Christensen about all of this and more, so do not go anywhere.